Have you heard of an ancient text made up of 66 small books by 40 authors, written over several thousand years, that predicts world events centuries in advance with 100% accuracy? Would you be interested to know what some of those predictions were, which ones have come to pass, and what is still to come? One of these small books was written by a man called Daniel. Daniel had the most incredible career imaginable. He was transported as a teenage captive to a pagan empire and became the primary confidant to the ruler of Babylon. He served 70 years in this kingdom, and during this time he received many prophecies and dreams. One of the most astonishing prophecies was given to him by the angel Gabriel, who interrupted Daniel's prayers and gave him 4 verses recorded in Daniel 9:24-27. That is unquestionably the most remarkable passage in the entire Bible. This prophecy has baffled scholars for centuries. Sir Isaac Newton wrote over 1 million words on prophecy in the Bible and the book of Daniel, as did Michael Faraday, Max Planck, and others. But it wasn't until 1894 that a man called Sir Robert Henderson cracked the prophecy in his book, The Coming Prince. This prophecy is the most marvelous, exact, amazing prophecy in the entire Bible. It is in the mind of some writers the single greatest defense of the divine authorship of Scripture. In fact, Sir Isaac Newton once said, "We could state the truth of Christianity on this prophecy alone, made 5 centuries before Christ." End quote. That's a powerful statement. In 270 BC, almost 300 years before Christ was born, this prophecy was translated into Greek. This is a well-established fact in secular history. It is critical to realize that the book of Daniel existed in documented form almost 3 centuries before Christ was born. There is such a wealth of information in these few verses, but today we will only explore the mathematical prophecy of the coming Messiah. Written in Daniel chapter 9, verse 22-25, we read, "And he, Gabriel, informed me and talked with me and said, 'O Daniel, I have now come forth to give you skill to understand. And at the beginning of your supplication, the command went out, and I have come to tell you, for you are greatly beloved. Therefore, consider the matter and understand the vision. 70 weeks are determined for your people and for your holy city, to finish the transgression, to make an end for sin, to make reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince, there shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublesome times." In the book of Daniel, chapter 9, verse 24, 70 weeks means weeks of years. This may seem strange to us, but the Hebrew tradition included a week of days, which is 7 days, a week of weeks, which is 7 weeks, a week of months, which is 7 months, a week of years, which is 7 years. 1 year for 1 day is a common substitute in prophecy. An example of this can be found in the book of Numbers 14, verse 34. In ancient times, 12 30-day months were used, making a total of 360 days for the year. In Scripture, we see many examples of a 360-day year. Therefore, 70 weeks of years are determined upon Daniel's people and the city of Jerusalem. To understand this, let's go on to verse 25. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince, there shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublesome times. The entire time period involved is exactly specified as 70 weeks, and these 70 weeks are divided into 3 sections. The first section is 7 weeks, the next is 62 weeks, and the last one, 1 week. When Daniel received this prophecy, he was in Babylon, and Jerusalem was in ruins. The whole time period begins, according to verse 25, from the commandment to restore and rebuild Jerusalem. 69 weeks times 7 years is equal to 483 years. 483 years times 360 days equals 173,880 days in total. So from the commandment to restore and rebuild Jerusalem to Messiah the Prince shall be 173,880 days. We know the exact date from Scripture that the command to rebuild Jerusalem was given. It can be found in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 2, 1-8, where the Persian king decrees the rebuilding of Jerusalem on the 14th of March, 445 BC. Therefore, the 14th of March, 445 BC, is a trigger for this prophecy to start. So when was Messiah presented as a king? On several occasions in the New Testament, when the disciples attempted to make Jesus a king, he invariably declined, saying, "Mine hour is not yet come." Then one day he not only permits it, he arranges it. This was the only time Jesus allowed himself to be proclaimed as a king. As Jesus was entering Jerusalem, people sang Psalms 118, proclaiming Jesus as Messiah. In the book of Zechariah, chapter 9, verse 9, we read, "Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, your king is coming to you. He is just and having salvation, lowly and riding on a donkey, a colt, the foal of a donkey." Again, these words were recorded centuries in advance and were fulfilled word for word on that day. Christ rides into Jerusalem in triumph can be found in the book of Luke, chapter 19, 28-44. This event happened on April the 6th, 32 AD, which turns out to be 173,880 days from the decree authorizing the rebuilding of Jerusalem. How do we know this event happened on the 6th of April, 32 AD? The answer can be found in the book of Luke, chapter 3, verses 1-23. Tiberius Caesar came to the throne in 14 AD. In 29 AD, Jesus was baptized by John. This was the 15th year of Tiberius Caesar's rule. Jesus was around 30 years old at the time. Luke chapter 3, verse 23. Jesus' ministry lasted around 3 years. This takes us to 32 AD. In 32 AD, the Passover was on the 10th of April, which is the 14th of Nisan in Jewish records. Jesus entered Jerusalem 4 days before Passover, as recorded in the book of John, chapter 11, verse 55, and chapter 12, verses 1 to 3. This gives us the exact date of the 6th of April, 32 AD, exactly 173,880 days from the command to rebuild Jerusalem. How could Daniel have known this so far in advance? How could anyone have contrived to have this detailed prediction documented so many centuries in advance? The 70th week, the last week of this prophecy, is still to be fulfilled. This period is the most documented period in the entire Bible. Approximately 1/3 of the Bible is prophecy. I would say that's pretty significant, wouldn't you? The Bible is unique in being prophetic. There is no other religious book ever written which contains so much prophecy. And I'm not talking about general prophecies about the future, but super-specific prophecies like the one we have just explored. One reason why God made such a large portion of His word prophecy is that it demonstrates to us that the Bible is 100% accurate. Jesus said in John chapter 14, verse 29, "And now I have told you before it came to pass, that when it is come to pass, ye might believe." I look forward to exploring more of what the Bible has predicted, which prophecies have come to pass, and what is still to come.